While Canada has many recognizable urban centers, there are tons of small towns that unite our country from coast to coast. And if you're from a small town, you know how true the old saying is, you can leave, but it'll stay with you forever. So we decided to look at what makes small towns unique and such special places to live.
I'm Jenny B, and this is my hometown, Meaford, Ontario.
Mark and Colin here from beautiful
BC with flair.
Yeah, it's amazing. The biking here is fantastic. Take a look at that view.
Look at it. Look at it.
Hi, I'm Rita Rieger, and I live in Canada's border city, Lloydminster, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. I'm in Alberta here. I walk over here, and I'm in Saskatchewan. And if you're born in our Lloydminster Hospital, you're born in Saskatchewan.
I grew up in a little town called Ravenna, which was a population of about 25, beside a swinging metropolis called Clarksburg, which was a population of 1,500, which was kind of attached to Thornbury, which was a population of 2,500, which was about half an hour away from Meaford or from Collingwood. So basically, I lived in the sticks in southern Ontario, and I couldn't have been happier or more proud to say that that's where my home is.
So this is where I met Carson Arthur. We went to high school together. I met him in the halls of this building. Canada, in my opinion, is made up of small towns. Sure, we have lots of big cities, but to get to those big cities, you have to go through all these beautiful little small towns, and I think the small towns are what unite us.
Hi, my name's Celine, and this is the beautiful town of Annapolis Royal in the Annapolis Valley, right on the beautiful Bay of Fundy.
Bonjour, my name is Belle. I live in the beautiful town of La Baie, about 2 hours north of Quebec City. I love La Baie because no matter what season, there's always something to do at our doorstep.
Walking down the main street, yeah, okay, it's not a long walk, but I'd probably say hi to about 15 or 20 people, and everybody knows me and I know them. The sense of community out here is like nothing I've ever experienced, except when I grew up in another small town.
This is my family home, and my Opa built the store so it was attached to our house. So there was a doorway inside that led directly from the front hall into the store. My favorite thing was going into the store and sitting on the steps and just listening to the conversation, because people came here, they came here to shop and get their groceries, of course, because it was a general store. But people mostly came here to see my dad. When you get to a small town, you're going to find some of the core things that you find in all the small towns. So you're going to find the great people who I think really love where they live. That's something really special about a small town. You're always going to find a beautiful main street. You're going to find a great ice cream shop. That's always my first place that I stop. And you'll find some kind of really special market where they're selling baked goods and handmade goods. And I just think that's what really makes up a small town and unifies them all across the country.
You know what? I think she's right. You know, it's a small world, and it's the small towns that connect Canada. We're heading to one now, Prince Edward County, Ontario. That's where we find our Cityline small town hero, Carson Arthur. Carson, it's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing great, but I feel like you're doing better because you got a body of water behind you.
Isn't this crazy? Small towns are the best, and this is one of the reasons why I love them. Even just hearing that last clip and that last segment, I got emotional. Hearing Jenny B talking about my hometown, I mean, she does this blog called This Is It Actually, where she focuses on this small town mentality in the big city, and that's how I feel every single day. And this took me 2 years to get a local to actually tell me where it was located so I could come and enjoy Secret Beach.
Okay, so tell me about Secret Beach. Like we're going to have to talk about this, but tell me a little bit. How people know about it, but it's something they don't tell anyone else.
Exactly. So every single small town has their little secrets. The spot where everybody likes to go swimming, where the best parties are, where the best food is, where the best ice cream is. Secret Beach was one of those mythological spaces that I kept hearing about when I first moved to Prince Edward County, but nobody would tell me where it was. So I had to put in the legwork to make myself part of the community before somebody would trust me. And now, literally, this is an incredible beach, less than 2 hours away from Toronto, but here we are, and nobody knows about it, and it's practically empty. It is spectacular.
Don't tell anyone on TV, but email me. Okay, we're going to talk about that information next time we are face to face, and I'm out that way because I want to see it. Okay, let's move on to a great bakery though now, because come on, food. Nothing like coming home from the country with a fresh baked pie.
Absolutely, and I've traveled back and forth across Canada and spent a lot of time in small towns. So whether you're getting peaches in Niagara, or blueberries in Halifax, or even apples in the Okanagan Valley, they all have their special something-somethings. And I've got one for you, Tracy. So this is Saskatoon berry pie. Now, you can grow Saskatoon berries around the area. They can grow them in Ontario and in different places, but there's something very special about these berries grown in Saskatchewan. The flavor is just so much better. Now, these berries are kind of like a cross between, I'd say, a blueberry, and they have sort of like the mouthfeel of a raisin. So if you cross those two together, that's a Saskatoon berry. Now, Tracy, I want you to try a piece of this. Take a big bite. Let me know what you think.
I jumped the gun. I already ate some. It's so good, Carson. It's delicious.
Isn't it fantastic? Now, this pie is extra special. It's from a place called Prairie Berries, and I love the company because they actually sent me some bags of Saskatoon berries because I can't get them here in Ontario. Now, Prairie Berries actually has a very unique distinction. They brought in a baker named Reina from Nicaragua, and since she's been on board, they do over 160 Saskatoon berry pies per day.
That is incredible. And I really like the fact that you've introduced me to that berry, which I didn't even know existed. So that's amazing. And I love that story, Carson. Okay, can we move on to ice cream, my friend? Let's talk about a special place to get some ice cream.
All right, every small child is going to have some memory in a small town of being thrown into a sport, whether they liked it or not, like soccer or t-ball or softball. Every small kid or small town child does it. And afterwards, you always go for ice cream. So I grew up going for ice cream after all my sporting events, right? And I grew up with two different ice cream companies, and one that I remember the most is called Kawartha Dairy. Now, Kawartha Dairy ice cream is one of my favorite ice creams because it's full fat. They use all the real ingredients. It tastes amazing. But I'll be honest with you, Tracy, as a kid, I had the worst taste in ice cream ever. I'd get like the bubble gum or the tiger stripe. What did you have as a kid?
Chocolate. Are you surprised at all? It was chocolate then, and then when I was a teenager, it was chocolate, and then when I became an adult, it was chocolate. So the one I'm eating right now, though, Cars, I'm doing the salted caramel, and I have to say, like, I might put it on the list. It's incredible.
With Kawartha Dairies, they just celebrated their 80th birthday. So a lot of people have the same attachment to this ice cream company.
That's incredible. And I like that place that you're living in, that praline, maple butter. Like, I could live there too. I like that. But let's go back to Chocolate Town for just a moment, because you're telling me about a great place in Nova Scotia, aren't you?
Absolutely. So when I was in Nova Scotia last, and I used to write for a major newspaper there, I got to see a lot of the small towns. And there was one small town that was doing a lot on the environmental side called Antigonish. Now, Antigonish, for me personally, was the friendliest town in Canada that I've ever been in. You know when you drive through the street and everybody's waving at you, and they all say hello, and they have absolutely no idea who you are, but hey, hey, I love that feeling. I got that from Antigonish. Now, how that ties to chocolate. So Antigonish sponsored a Syrian family that came over, and they started a chocolate company called Peace by Chocolate. And what's incredible about this is this whole attitude, this friendliness, this sharing, this community space, and that's what Peace by Chocolate has really focused on. So all of their chocolates, whether it says giver or thank you or welcome, they're all about this idea of community and giving back to the community. It's incredible, not to mention how good the chocolate is.
Well, I'll be the judge of that, my friend. It tastes amazing. I love the packaging. I love how the chocolate looks. But mostly I love the message. Carson, thank you so much. That was so good, and you brought me food, and you know how I love you for that.
My absolute pleasure.
Okay, now I want to chat a little bit with my fellow City Mouse T. So let's get into it. Since we're talking about the small town versus the big city, you're a Toronto gal, several generations in. So when you are in small towns, because you basically can't be a Canadian and not visit a small town, they are everywhere in Canada. Have you ever had like a country mouse experience or times when you really revealed your city roots out there?
Well, I was with you when it happened.
Where were we, T?
It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Remember we went to PEI. We were traveling across the country.
Yeah.
It was fabulous. I got to see places I've never seen before.
Yes.
And we flew to PEI. And we were looking for the Anne of Green Gables house.
Yes!
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And so we were lost. We got lost. And so we decided, we're like, do we ask people? Because it's very city. You don't want to bother anybody.
Right.
You always like, I don't want to bother anybody.
People are busy.
People are busy.
Yeah.
But we were like, we don't know where we're going. So we decided to, like, reluctantly go ask. And they were like, okay, you know what? You guys look confused. We'll just get into a car, and you guys just get in your car, and you follow us. And we were like,
don't you need to be at work? Don't you have to go to work? Are you okay? You've got the time?
Yeah, and then I'm also thinking, like, where are they leading us? Like, that's my city mentality, right? Like, are they doing us harm? Like, what are they doing, right?
Where are we going?
Where are we going? And we were so reluctant, but they were like, no, no, no. It was a couple with a child. I remember that.
Yes.
They got in their car.
Yes.
We got in ours reluctantly. We couldn't believe what was happening. They drove us there, and then they said, when we indicate with our indicator, that's where you turn.
Right.
And we were behind them. We were like, we're turning. We're like, then there was no trick at the end of it. We were not hoodwinked. We were like, they were just being nice to be nice. And that's when I realized, ooh, we're from the city. We just expect, first of all, we don't want to bother anybody.
Yeah.
And no one wants to give you any directions here. Like, and if someone does give you directions, they do it with their feet moving.
Yeah.
No one stops to talk to anybody.
No.
And then we were also just suspicious of it. We were all like, I don't know, this can't be real. It was so interesting. And I realized in that moment, I'm like, oh, that's really bad that we think that way.
It totally is. And I remember just thinking that this is nice.
Yeah.
You know, this is nice that you actually would take the time. There's nowhere that you're in a rush to that you can stop and do that. I had the same experience when I reported in Saskatoon for 3 weeks. I did not know how I was going to feel about the city. It is a gorgeous city. I loved my stay there so much, and everyone was so nice to me. I was beginning to lose all of my edge. I'm like, I'm not going to know how to act when I get back to Toronto.
You're going to be too nice.
Oh, too nice. It was so beautiful. I loved my time there. T, good story. I love that. And we need to go back to that Anne of Green Gables house. Oh, it was so good.
Fun.
It was so